everyone, welcome back to the Mistaken Garden. I'm making a video today showing you how to mount a mason bee house, and I'm going to put the baby mason bees in the house also. I have had a couple mason bee houses before. They were actually posted on the side of this greenhouse before I did my greenhouse renovation, and the bees never really used it, and I think it was more where I had placed it. Mason bee houses, they are supposed to be placed in the location that gets a lot of sun, mostly sun in the morning and then a little bit more shadier in the afternoon. So where I had it before, it only had a little bit of sun, maybe like 10 minutes in the morning, and then it was shade for the rest of the day. So I'm going to post it in the front yard this year. I'm pointing this way because that's the way my front yard is. And I'm going to see how it does. My girlfriend's husband, one of my flower friends, her husband made me this beautiful mason bee house. Isn't that wonderful? It's just made out of 2x4s. And then he drilled the holes and put the cardboard tubes in for me. That way I didn't have to worry about getting the right size and whatnot. So, so he made me this beautiful mason bee house, and we're going to use a screw, and we're just going to attach it to my hydro pole that I have in my front yard. So you only need a couple tools. Obviously you need the mason bee house, and then you need a proper screw to hold the house to whatever you're putting it on. You're supposed to put it on a flat surface. A hydro pole is round, it's not flat, but it will do. So I got the biggest screw that I have, and it has a square hole in it. So you want to make sure that you grab a drill bit for your drill that also has, you can't really see it on the camera there. Anyways, believe me, it's a square screwdriver thing. So you just put it into the screw, and then you're able to attach it into the hydro pole. So this is my drill here. And if you don't know how to use a drill, there's lots of videos on YouTube on how to do it. You don't need your boyfriend or your husband to do this. It's quite easy to do yourself. And that way you don't have them commenting about how you're doing things incorrectly. All that matters is that you get it attached to the piece of wood or the pole that you're putting it on, and then you're good to go. So I tend to do a lot of these projects when Brendan's not around. That way he can't comment on what I'm doing. Anyways, that includes buying plants. I buy plants and plant them before he gets home. So yeah, so we're gonna take this outside and attach it to the hydro pole. I'm not going to be able to talk while I'm videoing outside today because my neighbor is doing some pressure washing outside, but I will put my iPhone on a tripod so you can kind of see how I install it. So here is the hydro pole. You can see up top there I mounted a woodpecker box for them to make a nest in. Of course, they're not actually using it. But yeah, so you can see kind of where the hydro pole is situated in my yard. There's lots of flowers around for the bees, and that's where my entrance to the property is. Well, there we go, mounted on the hydro pole. It's about 4 p.m. in the afternoon. You can see that it still has some sun, so that is wonderful. These are the mason bees. You actually keep them in your fridge. I actually just picked them up today from the garden center. I got 20 mason bees for $20 Canadian. What happens is in 2 weeks or so, these mason bees are going to start mating with each other. And the female mason bee will collect up a whole bunch of pollen, and she will deposit it at the back of the tube, and then she will lay a little teeny tiny little egg, and then she will collect up some mud and make a wall, and do the same thing over and over again until she gets to the very end of the tube that you'll see on the hydro pole there, and then she'll put a thick plug of mud. And what happens is the little tiny egg hatches, becomes larvae, and then eats the pollen that it was pretty much laid on, and it will get a lot of energy, and it will live in there, and it will spin itself into a little silk cocoon. And the silk cocoons are waterproof, and so they're kind of contained between those mud walls until the fall, when I hope to extract them all and put them in my fridge. Or you could just leave them in the bee house if you wanted to. But that's where the little babies that I'm going to dump this blue tube of mason bees in. But yeah, these are my little eggs that I bought, or my cocoons, I guess you would call them. And of course, Shop Cat wants to make a little bit of an appearance. And this is what you do. You just put the mason bee cocoons in that little hole in the top. And that way, when they hatch, they will know where their home is, because they're going to return, fingers crossed, of course, to where they were born. And here are my babies in their new home. And over the next 2 days or so, they're going to hatch, and they're going to be happy as can be.